If we can find humor in things, it can make it so much more fun. My buddy Dave, my comedy mentor, he was in the hospital suffering from cancer. Now, he was scared like everyone else. And he said, Darren, you know what's fascinating? He said, what I learned about humor is the fact that, you know, the families are the problem, not the patients. He said, the patients need to laugh. He said, when we have support group meetings, he said, if there's no family there, we have a riot. But when the family members are present, they don't think it's appropriate to laugh about it, when they need to laugh about it. See, my friend Dave was scared like everybody else, but he looked for the humor to relieve the tension of the people around him just so they didn't drag him down. For example, they had told him that he had to have his bladder removed. And the doctor, knowing that there's many different options, asked him, they said, Dave, we need to remove your bladder. What kind of bladder would you like? He said, I'm thinking bigger. I want a 3-movie bladder. I want to watch the whole Godfather trilogy. In fact, through the miracle of modern medicine, what they did is they took part of his intestine and they hooked it right back up to him. And he told me, Darren, I was so psyched. I thought it was great that they could now do this. He said, but if you look at it from the intestine's point of view, he said, it's not a promotion. You know, one day you're in food service. Next day you're in waste management. But think about it, he was scared like everybody else, but he chose to find the humor in it. You have situations in your life that you can choose to find something funny in it and inspire other people around you. I told that story to one of my friends, a woman who I used to work with when I used to sell women's shoes. And she said, Darren, I have to tell you this story. She said, this summer I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she said, my doctor explained the procedure and they were going to have to radiate one of my breasts. And the doctor told me that it was going to, there'd be side effects and it would make the breast firmer and larger. I told the doctor, do them both.
My mother would always say stuff to me like, she'd say, you know, Dave, God has a plan for you. Something would happen, good or bad, she'd say, it's all part of God's plan. I could never help thinking, you know, if God makes plans for everybody, once in a while he must get a little behind in the plan. Maybe some of those days when I can't get out of bed. Maybe I'm not being lazy at all. It could just be that nothing was scheduled. Wouldn't that be a great way to call in work in the morning? Imagine if you could do this. You call up work in the morning. I'm not coming in today. Yeah, why is that? That's not part of God's plan.
Dave, when did you first come to the realization that your sense of humor would be helpful to other people with cancer?
One of the resources I found was a wonderful place called the Wellness Community. And what they do is they help cancer patients to become active in fighting for their own recovery. And I went over there and they had an orientation meeting where you go and they just teach you about the different types of meetings they have, the different types of facilities, different types of things that they do. And everything is free there. It's a fabulous place. So I went to the orientation meeting and we were all sitting around this living room atmosphere, nice soft couches and so forth. And what they did was they had us go around the room and everybody got 2, 3, 4 minutes to tell a little bit about their story and what their diagnosis was and what they had done. So everyone had 2 or 3 minutes. I think, and I probably took about 8 minutes, but I can remember after the meeting, I was approached by this couple, and really the man's wife. The guy's name was Bill Connell, and his wife approached me, and she said, I just want to thank you. She said, Bill has been depressed about this diagnosis ever since he heard about it. And the way you talked about it and the way you cracked a couple of jokes and you were laughing and you and you made fun of it. She said, that's the first time I've seen him smile in months. She said, I'm telling you, right, you changed the way he's thinking about this already. His attitude is different than it was 20 minutes ago. And I can remember thinking to myself, wow, the power of humor. I've always known that it has the power, but I never got to see it in this situation. And that's when I said to myself, I said, I'm going to do whatever I can as a comedian, as a funny person. I'm going to try to bring some of what I have to the world of cancer. So in doing my research, it became apparent that there's some sort of a relationship between cancer and stress. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but there seems to be evidence of that. So I decided that I needed to be in the least stressful situation I could be in. And that, for me, is here. I love this beach. This is where I grew up. This, to me, brings back nothing but carefree memories. I love walking along the edge of the water in the mud, feeling that mud oozing between my toes. There's something about that. I don't know if it's like a little connection with nature or what, but we used to just spend hours down here, rolling around, playing in the mud. All day. You spend all day in the mud. It was great. I love this place.
So you find a way to make things work out, and you got your magic mud. It's right here, how precious the simple thing.